What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Critical Overload here. We're going to be talking about several different horror topics in this video here today. We'll be talking about Talk to Me 2. We'll be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We'll be talking about Crystal Lake. We'll be talking about Terrifier 4 and then Scream 7 and Scream 8. Starting off here with Talk to Me 2. Raka has given us an update on the status of Talk to Me 2, or at least what's going on with the screenplay. They shared this update with the Hollywood Reporter recently, stating that they have written 2 different scripts for the upcoming sequel. One is continuing the story exactly on, and then another one is focusing on a new set of characters. We've written 2 sets of different characters in 2 different worlds that focus on 2 different themes. Now, one of you suggested over on Twitter that they should, or rather you asked, if they could shoot and release both. Someone let me know in the comments, has there ever been a film released with the same title and it's a completely different movie by the same team? Like written together, shot close together, and both versions released for public consumption. Not a director's cut or a Snyder's cut type of thing. But as you all know, I did love Talk to Me when it dropped in 2023. It was my favorite horror film of that year. I trust that Raka will deliver something decent at best, but I hope it's just as good as that first movie. I still have to see Bring Her Back, but there's a moment in this Hollywood Reporter article where they go over not wanting to jump into Talk to Me 2 right away because it would feel like they are just capitalizing on hype versus them wanting to prioritize a good story to tell. And a mindset like that from filmmakers is always nice to see. So I wish them the best of luck with Talk to Me 2. If you were a fan of Talk to Me, what was your favorite moment? I think they also mentioned they shot a prequel related to Duckett, who was the opening attack or opening death in Talk to Me. But hopefully this all works out for them. Now let's talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. According to Sarah Michelle Gellar and Allison Hannigan, Dawn Summers will be honored in the upcoming Buffy sequel series. This new news came to us from an interview with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Allison Hannigan. They had this interview with Parade Magazine recently. Sarah said, yeah, we'll do something. We'll do what's appropriate. And then Hannigan said, I'm sure they'll handle it with utter grace. Rumors suggesting that Michelle was supposed to return for the sequel came out earlier this year. I'm glad we'll get something to acknowledge Dawn. I'm glad we have something concrete on that. Right now, I think a good choice is telling a story about Dawn's child being the Slayer, since that would add an extra layer to Buffy's involvement because then she'd be helping her niece out. Yes, I understand that's just the tired legacy formula where newbies are connected to the OG, but it's just an idea. Put your pitchforks down. I think the best option is to tell a narrative around why Buffy reverted back to her and persona, if that ends up being true, and it's related to just losing Dawn and several Slayers in a big battle against evil. Throw Xander into the mix, because I doubt they're going to bring Nicholas back. Losing Dawn broke her, and we'll slowly see Buffy accept what happened, stop blaming herself, and remember the words she told Dawn at the end of the gift. And of course, find new love for protecting the world from evil again by helping this new young girl against the threat of what presumably will be the rise of a new Sunnydale, and however that looks. I am looking forward to this show. I know people have their reservations. I get it. I really do. Joss Whedon is very important to the success of that original. But the thing is, like I always keep stating, they should not try to just simply mimic Joss Whedon. I think that would be your biggest mistake. You have to be your own thing. You have to be able to tell a compelling narrative within the sandbox he created and just stand on your own. If people knock you for not being Joss Whedon, that's fine. If that's the worst thing to knock you for, then you've done a good job. Now, let's talk about Crystal Lake. We got some big Crystal Lake news this week as it pertains to the cast. We've learned, courtesy of Variety, that William Catlett will star as Levon Brooks in Crystal Lake. Now, I believe he was in Abigail, and he did good for what little impact he had. I love chemistry with Melissa Barrera, too. Levon Brooks is someone I can see being a Voorhees neighbor. Maybe he's connected to Duke from Jason Goes to Hell. I did see a few of you comment that on the post I left over on Twitter. Brad Caleb Kane also posted this image teasing Pamela Voorhees' living room. Linda Cardellini, we know, is playing her. And again, when it comes to the Pamela news, the tea, whatever it is, just show us what Linda looks like as this crazed mama, because I know she's going to look fantastic. Who do you guys think Levon Brooks is? Let me know down below. It's nice that this series is just done clowning around, or at least the franchise, you could argue, is done clowning around when it comes to giving us new material to watch on screen, and we can trust filming to begin this summer. Yes, I know people are still up in arms over that Jason design. I don't think we're going to see that Jason design in this show. Not at first right away. I think this show is going to hone in on just being a good narrative that puts some respect on Pamela's name, since she is downplayed at every turn almost from what I can see online from individuals. Everybody loves Jason, but Pamela seems to get disrespected a lot when it comes to her significance in Jason's story. So this show, Crystal Lake, I feel like what it's going to be hell-bent on doing is establishing her as the important character that she is, that the film series really has not done a good job of doing. She was an afterthought to a lot of fans. Now we're going to talk about Terrifier 4. I want to shout out 3C Films for doing this because he had an interview with Damien Leone, I believe, out at Texas Frightmare. It's up on his channel, I think, or also on X if you follow him there. But we got a huge update on Terrifier 4. Damien Leone told us we are going to be finding out the origins or Art's origins within the first 15 minutes of the film. He says, I know this word gets used a lot, but it's going to be epic. It's not going to disappoint. You're going to get Art's backstory in the first 15 minutes of the movie. Now, this is where you could make or break your film, in the first 15 minutes. Because as I often have stated, not just with Art the Clown, but for any antagonist in a horror film, you don't want to risk ruining the overall mystique of your villain by revealing something that doesn't sit well with your audience. If it does a disservice to the character and that's happening within the first 15 minutes, that could set a bad tone for the rest of the film. Just like Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers makes it abundantly clear within the first 15 minutes, within the first 5 minutes, that Michael Myers is not in control. There's some other higher being out there, group of individuals much worse than him. He's just a vessel for their madness, which was a disservice to that character. I know that movie has its fans. I don't agree with that backstory for Michael Myers at all. I think that was terrible. So hopefully whatever they have cooked up for Art the Clown doesn't give us that same Curse of Michael Myers bad taste in our mouth, if you're someone who agrees that the Curse of Michael Myers went down a bad path when it comes to exploring and revealing what makes Michael Myers tick. Now let's conclude this by talking about Scream 7 and Scream 8 a little bit. Scream 7, if you follow me on Twitter, you saw a tweet asking you guys, who is Marco Davis? Scream 7 is rumored to feature a character named Marco Davis. There's some clarity for you guys. That's who Marco Davis is, some alleged character in the film. It's a character allegedly working at the Fallbrook Psychiatric Hospital. My theory right now is Marco is either a staff member that the mental patient will pose as during their escape. That sounds a little too Pretty Little Liars to me. If you're a fan of Mona, you know what I'm talking about. But I could see that angle. Or Marco Davis is just a staff member that will get killed while the patient escapes. Or Marco Davis is the patient himself. There's so many different avenues you can take. The other thing we're going to talk about is related to Scream 8. Apparently, according to Production Weekly, Scream 8 is looking to shoot in the first quarter of 2026. That would leave that to the months of January through March, if I'm not mistaken. So, if you're doing that, Scream 7 is supposed to drop in that same quarter. How is that going to work without giving away certain plot points, or at least chipping away at whatever suspense you want to have preserved for us when we watch Scream 7, if we know an 8th film is going to be shooting right around the same time? Either they maybe will push Scream 7 up and it's dropping this year, or they are just going to shoot Scream 8 right around the same time as when Scream 7 drops, and you'll get the cast and crew immediately when Scream 7 drops. That's assuming there's any truth to what, again, Production Weekly keeps updating. But right now, it says that Scream 8 will be shooting in the first quarter of 2026. Let me know what you guys think about all this down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, of course, make sure you subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. In the description, I'll have links to all my social media accounts. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can message me there to let me know if there's any movies, news, or reviews you'd like me to cover in the future. And with all that in mind, guys, I will see you in the next video.